Okay, let me reshare the screen. Yeah, wait. Intro. Is
Yes,
it
sound.
audible? Okay. All right. So once again, good morning, everyone. And let's proceed with the all hands because we have no host weekly inspirational speaker today. So let's get inspired by our CEO, Mr. Jing, for the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Nadia. And thank you, everybody, for being with us this morning. I hope I can be inspirational. To some of you, maybe I'm not inspirational. Maybe I'm like an asshole, but hopefully the good parts will outweigh the bad parts, yeah? Marcel's smiling because he knows it's true, right? All right, let's go ahead and begin. First thing I want to actually ask is this, okay? Please, if you're working on something else, just pay attention to this part of the all hands because this is pretty important. I realize that if we just simply pay attention to this particular part, we can save a lot of going around, getting lost, and having disappointment, all right? But when we don't pay attention to, let's say, pretty important things, don't pay attention to just me, okay? It's not about me and whatever. Just pay attention to the things that we're talking about here because I don't bring them up unless they're important, okay? Can we all agree on that? Yeah? Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to talk about things that, and only things that I think are important at this point, are the most important from my perspective as a CEO. Small CEO. Okay. Anyhow, let's take a look at what's been going right and what we need to get back. Buddy, welcome in. How you doing, sir? All right. For those of you that don't know, our CTO is going to be braving some surgery soon. So let's wish him the best and hope that he has a very successful operation. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. So there's good news and there's bad news, and I'll go over the good news first. Okay, the good news is I took a look on the hospitality and it's improving slightly. Last week 81.5, this week 81.8. I think this is pretty incredible considering a few facts. Number one, there are fewer interns here, if anyone has noticed, than before. And there's fewer people working here than before. And there's more load here than before. This is peak season now, so we're expecting more guests to come in than any other particular point. The fact is that if the hospitality score is rising, despite all the resources, let's say, diminishing, then it would probably mean that the strategy and the automation is taking a greater share of the effectiveness of what we're seeing in hospitality, okay? So that part's good. I think a lot of credit. Now, it's a little bit too early to call credit yet, okay? I'll say that. But at least there's no negative signals at the moment to indicate that we are off strategy or off our particular plan. So that part is pretty good. Okay, the last all hands, we talked about revenue goals not being on track. We talked about hospitality being stable. We noted that the new assets under management was improving and rising, and we were finding the key points that are stalling the company. Those are good news. What's the update so far? The revenue goals are still a little bit off track. Okay, so we're not entirely there on the revenue yet, considering the pretty much ups and downs that we've had in operations so far. I would assume that we probably could spend Once operations has been more stabilized through our strategy, through our automation, we can spend a bit more effort, energy in collecting more insights and leadership in leading the revenue, okay? Of which we probably just have about 2 people on existing AUM right now, and only about, I don't know, well, I guess we have the entire marketing team here that's helping with the new AUM, but that's also an ongoing process that's being improved. Hospitality, slightly rising. And the new AUM is stalling, actually. We're seeing a little bit less meetings, a little bit less AUM coming in, and we are digging a little bit further to see how we can enhance that, okay? The focus is in sales supervision and in meeting planning and strategic discovery about our prospects so that we are more efficient in inviting the right people to actually be managed. And we're also making sure that we identify who is a strong client and have some control over the sales process, okay? We've also discovered, Bella and I think Marcel and Gani have discovered that even if we do sign new MOUs, there's still some additional latency between the time we send the MOU, sign the MOU, and the time that a new property comes in and starts producing revenue. I'm sure everyone can understand that. Previously, I guess we were not aware or not considering this latency, but this does have impact to how quickly a new property becomes actually part of the revenue solution, okay? All right, so next, let's keep the focus. Focus is, as we talked about, exactly where it should be. It's on these 2 particular points. It's raising the conversion rate from meetings to MOUs, and also operation and AI integration through knowledge management. But let's focus even deeper. The deeper focus is, how do we actually raise the conversion rate? We're going to apply more sales supervision. How do we actually improve the AI integration with operations? More decisive hospitality policies, okay? So each time we come in, let's have a more specific focus, and that indicates that our strategy is improving. When we change the focus, when we go from focus to focus to focus, it means that we probably have a bad strategy. But if we deepen the focus, we're able to narrow down into specific points where the company can apply energy, then we will most likely succeed, okay? All right, good to see you, Ramon. How you doing? All right, I'm going to go into more detail about the things I talked about last week. This is the wrong strategic thinking. The wrong strategic thinking is these 3 things, and these are myths, and I'll explain why and how they are myths through my experience, at least. So adding more people makes the work easier. Treating the AI as a tool, and adding more solves the problem. I'll go into more detail in why each of these is actually the wrong way of thinking. Let's talk about adding more people. I'll refine it a little bit. Adding more people now. Adding more people now makes the work easier. That's a myth. Treating the AI as a tool, not as a team. That's an enhancement of this particular myth. And adding more features and services solves the problem. Okay? All right, let's talk about adding more people. If this were a very simple organization where the work is very simple, like picking up trash on the floor, or I don't know, making sure that the beds are folded, okay? If it's a simple job, then of course adding more people makes the work easy. But each of you here is highly skilled, and therefore most of the work that would be required to be added to the team also requires high skill, okay? So if we add more people now, guess what happens? Instead of applying your skill towards solving problems, you will be applying your skill to supervise people while they are developing skills. So adding people now is only going to limit the amount of your particular output in terms of what you can do to actually solve problems. Now, this doesn't mean that adding people is the wrong idea, okay? If you wanted to add people, and this is a hard thing that I keep on asking and I keep on doing, but maybe this time this is a good point to bring it up. Now, please pay attention, okay? If you really want to add people, think about doing it immediately after you see an intern or a new employee or anybody who's in trial process that shows promise for being able to do good work, okay? Not like during peak season, but let's say during the first 2 months of their internship. You see somebody who's good, you're like, wow, you're very capable, you're worthy of being trained. Let's talk about adding you in full-time, part-time, or as a contract employee to Bukit Vista, okay? Because by the end of their internship, they would have developed their skills. And by the end of their internship, if you've already negotiated that, they would not have had other plans. And they probably would have 4 months to discuss with their parents, to plan with their school or to do whatever for this particular offer, okay? But having no more interns because everyone's graduated, and then thinking about how to hire new people, that's just not really going to work out, okay? So it's still a little bit too late to add new people now. The second thing is some people see extra work as a burden. Some people see extra work as an opportunity. Look for capable people that have the capacity, and instead of actually hiring a new person who is incapable of doing anything, consider a promotion, okay? If you think you're capable, step up and said, you know what? I think I can do the job, right? Give me the chance, promote me, and I'll fill in for where the company needs me, okay? That will be excellent motivation, and that will be very, very well rewarded if somebody did that. So far, very few people have done that, but the opportunity does arise when there is a lot of work for more promotions to happen, okay? So these are the two particular ways that we can solve any staffing shortages at the moment. So think about how to actually nominate interns early, not after they've all graduated. And think about how to actually promote responsible and capable people. Okay, is that part clear, everyone? Yep. So don't be like, all right, it's peak season now. We don't have anybody. Let's hire more people. That's never really going to work, okay? Even if we were to hire new people, they would still need to pass trials. They would still need to be trained. They still need to be supervised. And it probably won't be before the end of our peak season before they're actually capable of doing any meaningful work. So it's already too late to go on that pathway. Instead, step up if you want to have a greater career opportunity, absorb more responsibility over where the company needs you, and this is your opportunity to be promoted. Okay? All right. Hopefully that makes some sense. All right. Number two. Number two is treating the AI as a tool. A tool we do not expect to necessarily get better or be self-capable over time, okay? So we actually have a massive AI team that solves a lot of our operational problems. However, for many, many months, now it's changing, okay? This is one of our strategic discoveries. For many months, when it had feedback, nobody listened. When it had capability to develop its talent, nobody applied, let's say, the correct methods of management to develop its talent. And then we keep on complaining we have a lack of people. But we have essentially an AI that can do a lot of the work of a team. I think, Marcel, we just discussed this morning, right? The capability of Gaia is equivalent to probably a senior manager and 4 or 5 executors in both reservations and hosting, maybe even more, okay? So that's a team right there. Perhaps even more. Perhaps it's equivalent to a team of 8 because it covers all the hours of the day, and it's essentially available for every ship that we have available. So that covers more, all right? So instead of thinking of it as a single AI, try to think of it as there's a hosting manager, there's a reservation manager, and there's 5 or 6 executors in this one thing that we call Gaia, and that is the net benefit of understanding it. So how should our attitude change? Well, if it is a team, and it is capable of that, then its boss should be a hypervisor. Its boss should be a senior leader. Okay, its boss should not be somebody who is a supervisor or less, okay? An improvement in Gaia's performance should be rewarded for great hypervision and great engineering. So just like all leadership pathways, if you're a leader, it will be evident because the people that you lead are capable of more and more scope of responsibility. So if we see that Gaia is capable of more scope of responsibility, then it probably means that the people responsible for Gaia are also better leaders themselves, and they should be rewarded as such as well. This seems to be a understanding that we haven't really achieved yet, and as a result, the improvements in Gaia, which have been significant over time, have been often overlooked and not seen as correctly as it should under our management structure. Okay? All right. Is that understood? Does everyone get that? Yeah? Cool. All right. Third thing, adding more features. Adding more features and services is good. So we add more features, we add more tools, and we think this improves our overall performance. But what it actually does is this, okay? So it is good to add features. It is good to add these things. But one of the problems that we keep on having is that when you add a new feature, you add a new part, you are incurring liability. You now, Bukit Vista now, the engineering team, whoever is developing this new feature is incurring liability. That means instead of actually asking a housekeeper to be responsible for cleanliness, by developing, let's say, an AI tool that checks cleanliness based on property pictures, now we are incurring liability for the cleanliness. Instead of, like, let's say, asking a guest to be responsible for understanding the calendar, figuring out if there's availability, we are now liable for whether or not the guest has been informed about availability on a calendar. They could simply just check themselves, okay? So oftentimes, this particular process of adding and adding and adding makes us more and more and more liable, which makes us higher and higher to be disappointing to a particular guest or a particular partner because we've assumed liability for it. Whereas if we just simply think about how can we actually take the very large community that we have of housekeepers, of partners, and share some of that liability with them, okay, this would greatly also reduce a lot of our workload and reduce our liability for problems that oftentimes are not our problems, but we've essentially just decided to make it our problem by adding a new feature. Okay? All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Can everyone understand that too as well? Okay? So the problem is actually pretty simple. All right? The problem isn't add more people. The problem is actually simplifying the entire process. Okay? The problem is strategy. So adding more people creates more complications with supervision, creates more problems with trials, the whole thing, right? HR will tell you how difficult it is to actually hire, develop, and train all of you guys here too as well, okay? So that process isn't very easy, and I hope you appreciate the length of time and the difficulty it takes to actually develop a good Vista here. Treating the AI as a tool and not seeing its full capability means that we have a super-powered engine in our backyard, but we still go and we do things with our hands. We still go and do things with our feet and hands, right? We do things manually when we have all this power available. So let's put that to use. Let's put this great tool that we've developed into helping us out to deal with our problems, right? And adding more. Claudia suggested this to me in one of our personal chats. He said that at some point, innovation is not simply about adding more and more and more. It could be about reducing. It could be about reducing things to its most essential elements. And I tend to agree now. I think that adding more sometimes just creates more complexity, but reducing, simplifying, that's what actually a good strategy is. It makes everybody's life more specifically on strategy. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, yeah? Am I helping everyone understand strategy better? Okay. All right, great. All right, yes, my wife is the first to agree. Thank you, babe, for the support. I'm sure me being in Bali helps improve your enthusiasm. Okay, all right. Yes, make it simple. Ghani's smiling. Ghani wants to marry me in the future, right? Kidding. Erica's like, what? Where's this conversation going? Like Shaylin's like looking down. She's ashamed to be part of the HR team here. Like, what is the CEO talking about now? Nadia's smiling as a host because that's the only time I ever am funny. Okay. Here's another thing that's wrong with strategic thinking, okay? I realize oftentimes we talk about these things during the all hands, but people might not be listening, so please listen, okay? Otherwise, we have to keep on talking about it. Here's a good example. Let me give you a perfect example where this happens, okay? You write in your employee journal, it's not fair. I wasn't informed, okay? If anyone says that, and then I can look at one of the recordings in all hands where it was informed, I'm going to punch you in the face, okay? Because we do often talk about the things that affect everybody here, all right? We do talk about essentially the direction of the company. We talk about what we expect from everybody to do. And so if you come to the all hands and I see your picture there, right? And this is why we keep our cameras on, because then we can verify that you were there and you were listening, okay? And then you say, it was not in my employee journal. I didn't know about this. That's pretty disappointing, okay? So do pay attention here because this is where it matters, okay? And it affects your career directly. Okay, next. So are we strategically correct? Here's where I think we are as a company, okay? At the time that we completed our semester goals, we were probably at the top of course I know everything. We're so strategically correct. We're geniuses here. We're all good, right? Around May, I think we slid down. Around June, I think we're probably at the bottom, right? I started feeling very, very sad. And I'm like, oh, are we ever going to understand strategy? It's all just very confusing. But I've looked around and I would say, as a company, and this is not true for everybody, but as a company, I think we're finally reaching the lowest point and coming back up again, right? It's starting to make some sense. I think a lot of people are aware now that, okay, all right, we might have had good strategy, but certain other things were missing. So this is what I would call the sobering moment. Sobering is when you get drunk and you wake up and you're like kind of back to your senses again, okay? I know some of you don't drink, of course, okay? But just use another analogy in that case, all right? So we've discovered the reality from employee journals last month, and this is why we ask everybody to self-report what you think you did, And from a lot of the self-reporting, what we've discovered is a lot of people are actually not functioning at the leadership level that they are being evaluated at. You're actually functioning at probably 1 or 2 levels below. So that means a lot of people who call themselves supervisors are truly just executing. People who call themselves knowledge managers are supervising. People who call themselves upper managers are actually probably strategists. People who are strategists are probably knowledge managers. I took a look at it. It was like, in your report, you've only talked about essentially your previous job before you were promoted, not your actual current job expectations, okay? But that's okay. That's why we reversed the order, to see if everybody here really understands their job scope, okay? And clearly, many of us do not understand our job scope. And that's why we write about our jobs as if we were doing a lower level job, okay? So that's a little bit disappointing, but at least we know now, okay? So what am I going to do? The company doesn't just depend on a few key people anymore. The company really depends on everyone to do their job right, okay? You need to know what your job is, and I'm going to help clarify that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read all the journals where people actually describe a job that is a bit lower than what we expect them to do. I'm going to correct you if you are a supervisor and you're talking only about execution. I'm going to correct you if you are a knowledge manager and you only talk about supervision. I'm going to go and I'm going to find out each person, all 22 of you here, and I'll let you know, okay? And what we'll do, okay, is I'll only develop strategists and upper managers every morning in our morning sync ups. So those are the people who come up. And I will need to help essentially develop these people to become better strategists and better upper managers so that they can hold everybody else accountable to their job scopes, okay? So you will receive better support and better leadership. That's my commitment to everyone here, okay? And I want that to happen because now I see that as probably pretty critical to ensure that we reach our semester goals. Now you can probably appreciate this, right? If everybody in the company is actually functioning at a level lower than what we actually think they are, then it's much harder to actually get to our semester goal, okay? But if we can actually do the job that we're being paid to do the job that we're expected to do, then we probably will have a better chance. So this becomes pretty urgent to fix. Agreed? Yeah? Okay, good. Thank you for everybody contributing, okay? The transparency and the candor in your employee journals by writing about what you think you're doing has really clarified essentially some of the shortcomings that we see in overall leadership here, okay? I'm not blaming anybody. It's just, it is what it is, okay? Probably expectations are too high from senior people, okay? But the reality is that most people seem to be functioning a little bit lower than what their leadership level is, okay? Some people are just great, okay? All right, let's finish up. So my strategic value that I'm going to focus on is details matter, because details do actually matter and they do indicate, let's say your particular writing in your employee journal indicates your level of leadership capability. That's a detail, okay? Your particular way that you execute, that's a detail, but that indicates, let's say, a particular effect that's going to affect the rest of the company. So details do matter, and I am really appreciating it. Revenue goal, still 3 million. Overall hospitality rating of 4.8, 5-star percentage of 80%, 5x individual bonuses. Company achieves the 3 million target, April 1st to September 30th, measured October 5th. And let's say revenue goal and 2 hospitality goals for 5x bonuses, revenue goal and 1 hospitality goal, 3x bonuses, and revenue goal is not met, then there is no bonus. Okay, bonus caps, 75%. I've already announced that. It would have been 50% if I hadn't made my particular mistakes. So that was that. Okay, and calculated on a weighted average of monthly individual, but actually the rest of this is just standard stuff. You guys all know, okay? All right, the last thing I want to end you with is, once again, a reminder of the mission of the company. So everything we do, everything I do is in accordance to this. You can hold me accountable for this particular principle, that I'm here to inspire delight, as I'm here to also share this mission with everybody through hospitality innovations that positively transform our guest partners and employees. And I'm going to focus on leadership transformation of our employees so that we can transform our partners and our guests. All right, that's it. Let me hand it back over to, is it Nadia? Or
Okay, yeah, that's me, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Jing, and also I'll over it back to Abam as the moderator for today's session. I'll share my screen.
All right, thank you, Kak Nadia and Mr. Jung, for the session. Uh, Let's go to the next session, hospitality target and achievement to Furqan or Kak Kayla.
Yes, to me actually, Mas Abam. So I would like to try a new thing today by delivering this very significant information for the company. So hello everyone, my name is Furqan, and on behalf of Kayla, I'm delivering the weekly updates on our hospitality and also revenue target achievement. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, thank you, Kanadia. This is a reminder that we have a revenue target of 3 million USD and also hospitality target of 80% five-star ratings and also 4.8 an overall rating. And how are we going so far? Let's check it out. For the first one, hospitality target achievement coming from the first, next slide, please. Coming from the first metric, which is accuracy. We have a continuous improvement. So congrats for the content team and also the other team involved supporting accuracy. We have increase of 0.8% from last week. So kudos. Next slide, please. To the second metric, we have check-in metrics, continuous improvement, an increase by 0.1% from 86.3 to 86.4. Thank you very much for all content team, GES team, and also the other teams involved. And next, cleanliness finally bumped up in the cleanliness by 0.3%. From previously 80.5% now to 80.8%. Kudos to our property managers, our housekeepers, and also our on-site team to make sure that the property is clean. Coming next. Okay, for communication, amazing improvement. Even though, as mentioned by Mr. Jing during his session, we refine our gas system, and yeah, probably now people are fewer, but we can not only maintain but improve the communication by 0.2% this week. So kudos for the exception handling team and also Gaya team for this. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the only metric that is decreasing this week, which is allocation. So there's a decrease by 0.4% from 72.7 to 72.3% this week. So yeah, let's for the content team. This might be a homework, yeah, later on to how to refine it, and then coming next to the value. So we have an increase in value from 79.7%. We break the barriers coming to the 80.1% this week, increasing by 0.4%, and it is like a continuous improvement. So congrats to all team involved. So in summary, we are increasing 1.4% in 5 star rating, but decrease a bit by 0.08 in overall rating. It is actually like from last week comparison from this is the comparison to the goals that we would like to achieve, the semester target that we will achieve. But good news, we have like additional 0.2% for 5 star rating from last week. So that's a good news. Okay, moving on to revenue target achievements. Okay, so we have a 3 million USD semester target revenue, and we actually have achieved around 72.5%. Bella, please correct me if I'm wrong, because the revenue left is 37.5% there. So it's around like 1 million $1.125 to achieve. It already includes additional $95 K rating from last week. We have 45% time left, or 83 days left to achieve our goals. So Yeah, please make sure let's keep up, guys, and hopefully that we can achieve the revenue target, because I believe, if not, I'm not mistaken, if there is no, if we do not achieve the revenue target, there will be like no semester bonus delivered. Is that correct, Mr. Jing? Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for listening, and I will give the floor back to Abam.
All right, thank you, Furkan, for delivering the hospitality target and achievement. Let's keep focus on increasing the value and let's keep an eye from the decreasement. Next to the weekly mission inspiration, first one, innovation from our partners to Kak Tendi.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So yeah, there is observation. There are few times we get bird review for the room one tortoise, do the smell and edge, and then the mold. So we stop it, and then we escalate the project initiation and execute the for the prepare high season, and then also with high quality room, and so we can get more revenue, and then 5 stars. So thank you for all team, vendor, and staff who help the transformation. So yeah, I attached the video on so the Canva for the transformation below. Maybe Abam can open the drive. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
play it, Abang.
It's Kak Nadia.
The drive, please. Oh, Nadia, sorry.
Impressive. Wow. It's amazing.
All right, that's very cool. Good job, Kak Tendi. Let's go to the next session, to Furkan.
Okay, thank you very much, Abam. So the innovation here is reversing the AJ comment flow. As what Mr. Jing has also mentioned earlier in his session, per last payroll, the senior leaders agreed to experiment reversing the AJ comments, where in the previous flow, leaders give evaluation and then employee gives feedback. On the current flow, which I believe most of you has experienced it, employee performs self-evaluation first, and then leader aligns their understanding based on the employee self-evaluation. So the result of either this method gives better alignment of or not is still unproven at the moment. However, we have seen an improvement behavior for giving feedback between leaders and employees, because we see there are like more discussions, more writings happening in between leaders and employees, and that includes behavior improvement. Thank you, Mas Abang. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Furkan. To the technological innovation to Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Kabam. Hello, everyone. A bit of story. A week ago, Mr. Jing came to the operation with an idea of effective policy to reduce the manual work. He proposed a policy changes that would eliminate early check-ins and late checkout. Building on this, Kak Marcel introduced additional policy on the same manner for extension, alteration, and cancellation. This new policy aimed to streamline and minimize the need for escalation and manual works. Obviously, as you can see, Kak Abam, on the first picture, please. Yeah, thank you. Slide context. This is stats for Gaia ability to answer based on a certain category. There are 3 colors here. To make it simple, green means Gaia answered by themselves. Yellow means Gaia answer but needs people to complete the answer. Red means Gaia cannot answer. You can see on the first images that there are still several categories with no green in it. Move on the second picture, Kak Abang. By implementing the effective policy, you can see that now it's dominantly become green. On the third images, Kak Abam. And that's also request late checkout that you can see that 100% now become greens. It's not over yet. We still have some category left that's still not dominantly green. We are working to complete it. Looking forward for the next update. Thank you. Back to Kak Abam.
All right, thank you for the update, Krishna. Reminder, the one who is presenting is Kanadia. All right, next to the company team target and achievement to Furkon again.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, continuing the weekly hospitality and revenue target achievement. Let's see the July targets updates. So you can directly scroll ke Nadia to the July target. Thank you. So for the revenue target, the OK target for the revenue is at 520,000 USD, which awesome target is at 572,000 USD. Our achievement at the moment is around 378,922, which is around 72.8% in progress. It is still early on this month, so let's make sure to optimize the inbound revenue to achieve the revenue target. The next one, the OK target for 5-star percentage is 82%. Awesome target is 86%, and the current achievement is 81.8%. The progress is there, only 0.25% left, so it is quite close, yeah. And on the overall rating side, OK target stands for 4.75. Awesome target stands for 4.78, and the achievement at the moment is 4.75, which is already achieved at this moment for the overall rating. However, I would like to remind that 5-star percentage and overall rating, the hospitality target is fluctuative and might increase and decrease over time. So please make sure that we hold accountable and also keep the hospitality target that we have achieved and improve what we need to achieve. So scroll down a bit. There is an overall quality at the moment, and we have discussed this during during the weekly hospitality and revenue target achievement. But what our opportunities for July? We managed to have 45% occupancy, 10% higher from last week, 4% expired dates, 2% maintenance, and 4% owner usage for July so far. We have 45 nights available to sell to achieve the OK target. So let's move with team. Thank you very much, and Mas Abam, back to you.
All right, thank you for the update, Furkon. Next to the promotion and new employees to Kak Selin.
Okay, thank you, Abam. So the one that we're going to announce is actually our host for today, yeah? All right. So I'm here to announce for Nadia, actually. She's recently promoted as marketing manager, yeah? So congrats, Nadia. And I'd like to call out to Gani from the BPO marketing side to actually tell us a little bit more the behind story of Nadia's promotion.
Okay, thank you, Celine, and good morning, everyone. So the reason Nadia is to be promoted to marketing manager because in June Nadia show high quality leadership by effectively overseeing the combination of upper management and supervision. So number one is start to make hard decision by removing non-culture fit members, that's Rifki. And the second, successfully retain our intern to be part-time by next month, and then managing a freelancer with a smooth delegation. So by these three example, I think it is worth to bring Nadia to next responsibility, to higher responsibility, and yeah, basically more scope of work for Nadia. That's why we do a promotion for her. That's it, Celine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gani. All right, so yeah, that's a bit of the announcement, yeah, for Nadia. So once again, congrats, Nadia. Looking forward, yeah, as our marketing manager. Yes, sir.
Let me also speak on behalf of Nadia. So I personally watched Nadia's transformation in the URC group over the past semester or so, right? I remember when she first came in, there was absolute hesitancy to actually make decisions about people. But I think what happened was every day we practiced critical thinking. Every day we practiced giving feedback. So that confidence in her ability to actually call what she saw as correct and hold people accountable for it also grew over time. I say the graduation test is, of course, making actually decisions about people's careers, either in the positive or in, let's say, cases where there are more difficult decisions to be made. And it takes maturity, confidence, skill, but also quite a lot of knowledge and commitment and care to do it. I want to make it clear that essentially, I think what a manager is a person who is overwhelmingly cares, Gani's word, right, about seeing the outcome to the point that they just can't see any other way about it, right? They have to actually get their team to focus on it. They have to actually bring everybody along for it, okay? So it starts ultimately with Tara, and then it leads to development of supervision, upper management skills, which Nadia has picked up quite a lot of during her particular time under Gani's leadership too as well, which I really appreciate as well, okay? All right, Sheila, maybe you can give Nadia also a chance to also explain, or tell about her particular thing. So I think that might be a good practice. Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you, sir. So, okay, let's try, yeah? Okay, maybe to Nadia, maybe a few words from your side.
Yeah, I didn't prepare for this one because I thought we're just hands, but yeah, it's a new challenge for me. So yeah, thank you everyone for the supports, and also Gani for the support, also the trust for this new level of career as well for me. So yeah, thank you, and let's keep working hard. Okay, back to you, for the all hands.
Alright, thank you Kak Selin, Kak Gani and Sinjing, and congrats to Kak Nadia for the promotion. And next to core value, we have Sarah here to recognize gratitude.
Okay, thank you so much, Kak Abam. Yeah, I would like to recognize Bliketut, who is not here actually because he's already off doing his GS schedule for today. So the situation is that almost all of the guests that Bliketut hosted as GS, where he reported in the daily inspection schedule channel, most of them, if not all of them, turn up with 5-star reviews on Airbnb. So great hospitality and personal touch to guests, I think will always yield good results. But it is also my responsibility to research more on this. Yeah, but for now it's very effective. I see, and yeah, it just shows how important GS members are equally in hosting on site both Bliketut and Moayana. So yeah, I'm glad we have Bliketut and Moayana in GS team equally. So thank you. Back to you, Kak Abam.
Alright, next to Mr. Jing.
Okay, sorry, this is a little bit last minute. I should have done some planning myself, but I'd like to recognize a few people. First, I'd like to Bayu, Marcel, and Vidi. I'll tell you guys why. So part of that thing I spoke about earlier, that sobering moment came to my attention that essentially there was, I guess there was some job scope that hadn't been covered, right, by some of our senior leaders. So what's not important is what's happened in the past, right? But what's important, I think, is behavior and how to actually deal with it. So we could have kept on like searching, looking for the problem. But upon, let's say, more and more questioning, more and more asking, everybody spoke plainly, truthfully, and transparently about what they had done and what they had not done. So we were able to essentially discover root causes of essentially some of the problems that we've seen, okay? It's not easy. It's not easy admitting as a leader, especially as somebody who's been maybe leading for a while, that there could be problems with the fundamentals in your leadership, okay? But through transparent discussion, we're able to actually discover that. And I think that also makes essentially what I consider a stronger leader. faking things, pretending it's not happening, and hiding facts. That's never going to make us positively transform. But each of these individuals here took the harder path, took the path that required more courage, and we're very transparent. So thank you guys for being transparent. Next, okay, I'd like to recognize Ghani, but for a different reason. Okay, for Ghani, it's never settled. So I began my journey with Ghani many years ago, and he was a photographer, I think, right? Came on board Bukit Vista to take pictures. Since that time, Ghani's been extremely open-minded about learning the next thing there is to learn. So we've gone through photography, we've gone through content, we've gone through copywriting, we've gone through supervising people, and we've gone through strategic talking, we've gone through knowledge management, and now we're talking and developing an upper management. So what inspires me about Ghani is never settle. That he always sees that there's another frontier where he can be a beginner again, and he chooses to learn, and he chooses to empty his glass. And so I think that's actually a very strong leadership quality as well. And I want to recognize that. And today with, I'll also put it this way. As an upper manager, I know if you're being promoted, it feels like a really good day, right? Yeah, Nadia, right? It's fantastic. But these are never easy decisions for any particular person who's an upper manager, because they bear the responsibility of their decision to promote somebody, okay? So it's difficult, and a lot of people who are, let's say, in positions of upper management often hesitate to make any promotion decisions or any demotion decisions when in fact it's their job to do so. So I'm saying basically that, yeah, Ghani, you're never settling. You're committing to do the practice, and you also understand that with practice oftentimes comes, mistakes and experience, right? So, but you're willing to do that. So that's, I think, the spirit of never settle. Okay, all right, that's my two. Let's go back to Abam. Okay. Abam. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jing. Next to Kak Kayla.
Okay, so actually for Sarah, so we recognize that the result of Bikatud contribute actually to the 5 stars. Won't be there because if there's like no planning, I believe that actually the good results from an executor stem from effective leadership and planning. Sarah has the responsibility to oversee the guest reviews and communications, which actually give her the awareness to be able to see the opportunities and also the part in which we'll possibly have a bad review. I believe her strategic planning here has guided the GES, in this case Bukit, enabling him to deliver results company-wide as profitable. This is basically just the beginning. We do look forward to Sarah's performance if she keeps on doing what's been working. Marcel's correct, GES, then let's do CM right now, Sarah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kak Kayla. Next to the announcement to Furqan.
Okay, thank you, Mas Abam. So the announcement is BVI's Day 4 is coming. So who already misses our MSc Basics interns? No one? Okay, sad. We'd like to celebrate the internship completion from our amazing MSc Basics interns on the ICE Day tomorrow. So the event to be conducted tomorrow, 10th of July. All mentors have been invited through the Google Calendar, so make sure you don't miss it, yeah. However, if you are not a mentor and you would like to come and support your peers, feel free to let me know by commenting directly on the announcement there. So if you scroll down a bit, there's a comment announcement. So please tag me and I will invite you. Thank you, Mas Abam. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Furqan, for the announcement. I think for the personal updates, you can do it as seen, and don't forget to fill it on your side and read from other person updates. That's all for today's all hands. Anything to study?
Maybe I should invite Marcel. Marcel, do you have anything you'd like to say as the president of ops? Here, I'll give you a chance. I realize we have a lot of all hands, but we never hear from Marcel. So here, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah,
Chance to rally the troops.
So we should just continue the momentum we have. As messaging always said, that this all hands is what all matters for the, delivering the informations and our focus. So yeah, you gotta hang out with it, and let's have some fun with things that we
Yes.
yeah, that's it.
All right. Cool. Let's get a bite. You have any thoughts?
Let me see. Oh, maybe just a reminder. It's basically communication is very important. We sometimes assume that the other person understand already what we are thinking, or especially if it is in a discussion, right? Sometimes we say, "Oh, let's do this," blah blah blah. Okay. Then we just assume that everyone knows and agree and know what to do next. I think that's sometimes incorrect.
Yeah.
So a follow up might need to be done. One example, because this is pretty important actually. So last few days we decided that we are not going to offer extra services, right? It's because why? The reason is because we are talking about liability. So basically, if we are offering extra services to our guests, it means that we endorse the service provider and we assure the guest that the services will be great, right? And the guest will review us based on partly because of the services that the vendor offers. But we don't have control over their services because we don't have any affiliation with them. So basically, we decide to not directly offer them as our service, but we will refer it to them. We agree on this. So my reminder is that in operations or whenever there's a guest team, starting from now, let's say that we don't offer extra services. We just say that we know the contact of provider, and then we will give you the contact if you want to arrange it. Then please arrange it with them directly. And just make sure that the guests know that it's not our company, the service provider. That's a small reminder. That's it from me.
All right. Thank you, Blake. I appreciate that. Okay. One last thing. I just recalled something. There's a lot of people who actually work in Bukit Vista. They're not employees here, but they're there. Okay. There's probably 300 people in our network who are housekeepers, gardeners, drivers, part of the group of people who actually, engage with the guest. I think oftentimes for con we tend to forget about them. We tend to actually they're kind of invisible, right? We don't see them at the all hands. And last week Pakutit was a chef's, of course, right? I think it might be a good idea to start thinking about, can they help with some of the problems, right? Because they have a lot of power. They're right next to the guests. They can essentially give a particular thing that can really improve the guest experience, right? If we empower them to do so. If we actually even just realize that they're available on that time, okay? So when we talk about transformation of, let's say, people, there's the 20 odd people who are in this room, right? 22 people who are here. But there's also more than probably 300 that are out there in the field that we can also positively transform to help with guest experiences too, and partner experiences as well. Okay, anyways, there's something for all of us hopefully to think about, okay? And this is part of our mission as a company. Okay, thank you. Back over to Bob.
Hi, thank you for the words, Marcel, Bayu, and Mr. Jing. That's all for today's all hands. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
have a great weekend.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you, everyone.
Have a nice day, everyone.